All of you must have heard of Elon Musk offering to buy out Twitter, isn't it? I am sure it has made big news. In fact, the latest update on that is he has mustered around $7.2 billion from outside funding to conquer Twitter. Now, this may be a story of fascination to many people, but for me, this is a story of foresight. Let me tell you why. Hey folks, I'm CSK and I'm an educator. Welcome to CSKSpeaks. I started off by talking about Elon Musk's endeavor to acquire Twitter. Yes, we have heard many news articles and snippets about the whole up and down drama on Twitter and Elon Musk. But for me, the way it works is a simple strategic plan of foresight. How many followers do Elon Musk have? 8 crore people on Twitter. Now, for some reason, Twitter decides to ban Elon Musk like how they did Donald Trump. What happens to Elon Musk's communication channel with the world? Have you ever thought? In fact, many comparisons and infographics are doing the rounds about Tesla's market share comparing with many other automobile manufacturers. 11 automobile manufacturers' market share is matching with Tesla's. Or that's the comparison and the speed at which they have grown. Now just imagine, the primary marketing channel for Tesla is Elon Musk's Twitter handle. And if he gets banned or ostracized from Twitter, what happens to their marketing channel? So for me, Elon Musk acquiring Twitter is a master plan of foresight. Now let me explain this a little with the help of a story, a childhood story I've heard. Because when I looked at this piece of news, I couldn't help but remember that story. I've given you the cream at the beginning itself, but stay with me in the video for you can get more insights. For you must have heard of that particular proverb, failing to plan is planning to fail. Yeah. Foresight is not about predicting the future. It is about reducing surprises. That's what Elon Musk did. This story talks to you about how you and I can reduce surprises by using the power of our foresight. So this was a story which was told to me by my grandparents. So my grandmother, when she was feeding me, told me the story about Kashi. You all have heard of Varanasi, or what is the new name now? Prayag Raj or Prayag Sthal, whatever they call it. So the new place, right? The new name for the old place. But I will keep you the story from Kashi. Now Kashi, they had a king. Kashi had a king. Now that king never had kids. So the king was almost on the verge of breathing his last breath. And he had this question that how can I have succession for my kingdom? Now those days, the normal practice was that they will give a garland to an elephant and the elephant is going to go around the city square and put the garland on somebody's neck, and that person on whose neck the garland is put by the elephant is declared the king. The minister in that kingdom was not happy with this practice because he felt it is too random to his liking. So he came up with a constitution, and in that constitution he had a very well laid out procedure. What is that? He said, okay, we are going to tie a huge bell at the city square next to the temple. The person who's going to come up and ring that bell is going to be declared the king. The people around him, the minister, asked him, in what way is this not random? There the elephant was going around the city square and putting the garland on somebody's neck, And here you are asking somebody, some random person, to come upon that particular stage and hit the bell, and you are going to declare that person as the king. How is this not random? So the minister said, wait a minute, there is a condition to this process. And the condition is, whoever comes up and hits the bell will become the king for 2 years. 2 straight years. And after that, here's the catch. After that, we're going to put him in the boat, take the boat to the far away. Kashi, right? There is Ganga and Ganges flowing. So after that, from one bank to the other bank, we're going to take him in the boat and then drop him on the other side. On the other side is the deep, dense forest. It's the jungle. And you have all kind of wild animals. So he's going to be left there to fend for himself. And we all know the truth that he's not going to survive even for a day. The wild animals are going to come and eat him up. And that way, we have 2 years service from a person, and then the other person takes over, whoever comes and hits the bell. So people around were convinced. They said, wow, this is a great option. This is a great way to change hands, but at the same time, there is no problem of succession. Now everything was set, and one man came and hit the bell, because initially it was all glamorous that, okay, I get to become the king. So there was this man who came up and hit the bell, and he was made the king. That man was enjoying his time for first 6 months. And after 6 months, it started to dawn on him that in the next 1.5 years, he's going to be thrown into the jungle and he will die. He somehow tried to escape, but it could not happen. So what happened was, the soldiers were, instead of guarding the kingdom, were guarding the king from fleeing. Finally, somehow he finished his 2 years, and then he was thrown into the jungle, and as everybody expected, he died. Now this demotivated many people from coming up and hitting the bell. So the minister was thinking that why this strategy is failing. But still, many people said, okay, still we get to become the king and die, let's go. Another person came, same thing. After 3 months, he started to escape. He escaped, but they caught him and then put him around, and then he died in the jungle. So this went on and on, but this was not a permanent solution. But as this was going on, and when the minister was nervous, feeling bad that this strategy is failing, he suddenly heard one more person ringing the bell one last time. And when he heard this, it was a big thing, because finally he had another person who can take care of the next 2 years, and by that time the minister is going to come up with a new strategy. But when they went to the town square, they saw that there was a beggar who had rung the bell. They had no choice. Anybody who rings the bell is declared, or is to be declared, the king. So they brought him. Crowned him the king, and then he started running his empire. But to everybody's surprise, he was able to do such a fabulous job in running the empire. People were happy for a change. People were enjoying the time when he was the king. Everybody were happy, and there was prosperity, progress, and all of them were happy that this man is the king. The minister was happy that we got such a great king. He was very loyal, he was very disciplined, he was very punctual, and he had a great flair for culture and tradition and values and rituals and all that. So when all this was going on, the minister started to feel 2 years is going to end and we are going to lose this man to the jungle. Why did I make such a rule? In fact, he was so tempted to change the rule to make him continue forever and ever, because the kingdom was in a nice place, in good hands, and he had no plan, an alternative plan for succession after this king. But he could not think of anything. So finally, 6 more months to go for his 2-year term, the minister goes in a very morose and sad mood to the king and says, well, as you know, the condition is that you get to rule this kingdom for 2 years, and you already finished 18 months, last 6 months left. So just my job is to come and remind you. The king, the beggar who became the king, was like, okay, I know that in 6 months I need to leave. I'll be ready, don't worry. Repeated the same reminder after a month, 5 more months to go. Then 4 more months, then 3 more months, 2, 1, now weeks, 2 more weeks to go. Last week, last day, and that day finally arrived when the minister and the people came to escort him to the jungle. The king was ready to get onto the boat and go to the other side. Without an iota of doubt, without an iota of fear, the king just jumped onto the boat and they were taking him. Minister was curious to see the king's steadfast approach. He was unwavering in his commitment to that 2 years. The minister asked the king, how is that you are able to control your emotions? You know very well that you are going to die once you are out in the jungle, but you are so happy to go there. I have never seen anybody so committed to the cause. So the king, the beggar, who turned around and said, well, who told you that I'm going to die? Where is the jungle? Did you even look there? Turn around and see. And when they turned around, they could not see the jungle. They saw a city, a new town being built on the other side. A new town being built on the other side. And the king continued to tell the minister that as soon as my boat reaches there, the minister and the team there are going to come and welcome me. They're going to put a throne on my head and a crown on my head and then take me there. So I'm going to be the king of that particular new kingdom. Because it is on the other side, the Uttar Disha of Kashi, I have named it as Uttar Kashi. So I'm going to be the king of Uttar Kashi. Now hearing this, minister could not help but wonder, how did he pull this off in the last 2 years that none of us know that he was building another kingdom? And when he asked the king the question that how did all this happen, the king answered, well, last 2 years you were busy counting the final day is going to arrive and you're going to get a new king. But I was busy building a new kingdom so that when the day arrives, I'm going to be the king forever and ever. The difference is I was having the foresight and you were looking at it from your hindsight. You're looking at it from the second year completion backwards. I'm looking at it from the first day of my 2 years forward. When he said that, the minister said, well, if you are going to rule that kingdom, what happens to our kingdom? Because I have not found another alternative plan where people will come and ring the bell and become king. Then the king offers. He says, well, in that case, if you want, you can merge your kingdom with my kingdom and then I can be the king for both the kingdom, Kashi and Uttar Kashi. Thus, the story concluded. But the message is powerful even today. When I look at this story and when I look at Elon Musk on Twitter, I remember this. He became so big by leveraging the power of the platform, and today he is able to conquer the platform and make it his. Just like that fellow who became so powerful by just ringing a bell, and now he becomes the king for both the kingdom and rules happily ever after. So friends, the point here is the power of the foresight. Anything you do, you have reached a particular place, you have reached a particular stage in your life because you have done that kind of work and you have reached here. But then from here, your team is busy grinding the daily tasks. You need to think of the future. You need to think where you want to go and you need to look at that particular plan. Remember, failing to plan is planning to fail. So in this video, I'm here to tell you that foresight is a gift which we all have and we have the choice to use it. In fact, let me tell you and conclude with a quote. And the quote is, in action, be primitive, but in foresight, be a strategist. In action, be primitive. In foresight, be a strategist. Remember the story of the king. Remember Elon Musk.